All right, we're about to take a tour of the most complex, most incredible network on the entire planet. And guess what? It's right inside of you. We're talking about your nervous system. This is the control center that powers every single move, every thought, and every feeling you have. So let's dive right in.
I mean, really, have you ever just stopped and wondered about that? How you can catch a ball that's flying at you, play a guitar, or even just walk across the room without really thinking about it? What is actually going on behind the scenes to make all that happen?
Okay, think about a game of tennis. It's so fast. Your eyes see the ball, your brain instantly judges its speed and where it's going, and then it fires off these super precise commands to dozens of muscles in your arms, your legs, your core, all to swing that racket and hit the ball perfectly. And this all happens in a literal split second. This amazing teamwork, that's called coordination. And, to put a formal name on it, coordination is just the way all your body's different activities interact to get a job done. The system that's in charge of all this nervous coordination is, you guessed it, the nervous system.
So here's our game plan. We're going to start with the big picture, the main control system. Then we'll break it down into its two major networks. After that, we'll meet the tiny messengers that carry all the signals, and we'll take a quick peek inside the command center. And finally, we'll put it all together to see how a simple thought becomes a real action.
So let's kick things off with that big picture. The easiest way to think about the nervous system is like it's the master plan, the complete electrical wiring diagram for your entire body.
Just look at this thing. It's this huge, intricate network of nerves that connects your brain and your spinal cord to every single part of you, right down to your toes, up to your eyes, everywhere. It is the absolute essential infrastructure for all that coordination we were just talking about.
Now, this massive network isn't just one big, chaotic jumble of wires. No way. It's brilliantly organized into two main systems that have to work together perfectly.
So on one side, you have the central nervous system, the CNS for short. This is your command center. It's the brain and the spinal cord, and it's all safely protected inside your skull and your backbone. This is where all the big decisions get made. Then you have the peripheral nervous system, or the PNS. Think of this as all the roads and information highways that connect the command center to literally every other part of your body, carrying messages back and forth, back and forth. It's an incredibly efficient setup. It lets the CNS focus on processing and making decisions, while the PNS handles the lightning-fast delivery of all that information.
Okay, so now let's really zoom in, to the individual messengers that are actually carrying the signals along all these highways.
And here it is. Meet the hero of our story, the neuron. This little guy is the fundamental building block of the entire nervous system. You see, it has these branch-like things called dendrites to receive messages, a cell body to process them, and then this long tail, called an axon, to transmit the message onto the next one.
And here's the crucial part. Information only flows in one direction. It's a one-way street. A message comes in through the dendrites. It gets processed in the cell body, it travels down the axon as this tiny electrical impulse, and then it gets sent out from the terminal branches to the very next neuron in the chain. It's just this beautifully efficient system. But it turns out not all neurons are created equal. Kind of like a postal service, right? The nervous system has different kinds of neurons for different jobs. They all connect up in a chain to get a message from a receptor, say on your skin, all the way to an effector, like a muscle.
So here's the breakdown. You've got sensory neurons. They carry signals to the brain, telling it what's going on out in the world, what you're seeing, hearing, and feeling. Then you've got motor neurons. They do the opposite. They carry commands from the brain out to your muscles and glands, telling them what to do. And in between, you have association neurons. They're the connectors, the middlemen, passing messages from one neuron to another. Okay, so we've seen the whole network. We've met the messengers. Now it's time to go visit the headquarters of this whole operation, the brain itself.
This thing right here is the most complex organ in your entire body. It weighs about 1.5 kilograms, and it's the source of everything. All your thoughts, your memories, your actions. It's basically divided into 3 main parts, and each one has a really critical job to do. So first up, you have the cerebrum. That's the big, wrinkly part on top. Think of it as the CEO. It's the center for your intelligence, your consciousness, your willpower. The fact that you decided to learn about this right now, that's your cerebrum at work. Then, underneath that, you have the cerebellum. This is the master of coordination. It fine-tunes all your movements and keeps you balanced. And finally, tucked away at the base is the medulla oblongata. This controls all the stuff you never think about, like breathing and your heartbeat.
It's like the silent autopilot that just keeps you up and running.
And if you want a really powerful, real-world example of what the cerebellum does, check this out. This quote points out that alcohol directly affects the cerebellum, and that is exactly why someone who's had too much to drink has trouble with their balance and coordinating their movements. It's a direct hit on the brain's balance and coordination center. Makes perfect sense, right?
So, the big question is, how does this all come together in a real-life situation? Well, let's trace a single, simple action from the initial thought all the way to the final movement.
Okay, let's say you decide to pick up a glass of water. That thought, that simple decision, starts in your cerebrum. The command zips down your spinal cord. That's the CNS highway. It then exits onto the peripheral nerves that branch out into your arm. A motor neuron delivers the final go message to your muscles, and they contract to perform the action. From a simple thought to a physical action, all in a fraction of a second, using every single piece of the system we've just talked about. And that brings us to one last kind of mind-bending question. We've seen the physical wiring, right? We've seen the electrical signals and the biological machinery. We can trace how it all works to make you do something. But if this is the elegant system that powers all of our actions and choices, what exactly is the thought that kicks the whole thing off? Pretty wild to think about. Thanks for joining me on this tour.